Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and I like all things modular. So when I first saw the combo, I really liked it, because it was inherently a modular thing. It was two blasters that connected together, and you could take them apart and use them, you could put them together and use them. And I thought that was a really neat idea, and I really liked the look of it, and I wanted to get a hold of one, and then I think somebody up and mailed me one, and it was awesome. And tried it K26. It can take a K26, and it works beautifully with K26. Both parts of it can, and it will still catch properly and fire properly, so it's a fairly robust thing. But like every one of my friends who, the moment they picked this thing up, their first reaction was to do this and go, this thing needs to be a Gunblade. And it really, really did. The way this handle feels when you're holding it this way just begs for there to be a blade on it. And so I, of course, set out to find the simplest modular way to do this. And obviously, the first option was to take my rail-attached bayonet and simply put it on there like that. And sure enough, it works. And it actually works very well because the way this is designed, this entire edge here is all foam. So anything I'm likely to hit you with when I'm swinging it is padded, and that's actually very nice. Problem is, of course, it's very short and does not, you know, you'd need to get real up close and personal if you wanted to hit somebody with this. But it doesn't interfere with the barrels at all, and it works. And you can, of course, take it off and use it, you know, dual wield if you want, and then snap it on there so you can prime the blaster and fire it, and it's lovely. I did have to reinforce it a little bit. I added some screws in here to keep the rail here from moving because it was just too loose, and even the slightest tap would cause it to pop off. Now you could probably, it'll probably still will, but you'll get at least one tag before you do. And I'd rather that it popped off rather than breaking, so I'm okay with that. But I wanted something with a little bit more reach to it, so I made this one, which is the same concept. It also uses strike fire or crossfire top slide, which has that reverse rail, which is lovely. Just pop that off. That's why I buy those at Goodwill any chance I get, because I can make things like this. And I took the Walking Dead Katana looking thing, and all I did was I dremeled out the two bars that went in to actually engage with the slide, and then I just glued a piece of plastic right there, so you can now insert this, rotate it, and now it is now rail attachable. And you can still use it when it's in this configuration, and it gives it kind of a lightsaber handle feel, which is, you know, cool and nerdy. And now when you attach it, you have a much longer blade. And this is the one I specifically built for this, so this one will probably get a lot of use, just because it's neat looking. I mean, it's a katana, and I think it fits with the whole design. And it also does not interfere with the barrels at all, which is very important. And yeah, you can still, of course, like I said, take it out and use it as a sword if you want, or you can take it off with the whole thing and use it, whichever you prefer. Now, I know what you're commenting. What about your other melee attachments? Well, my first thought was to use my lightsaber bayonet and a regulator barrel, one of the attachments that has both bottom rail and a barrel attachment. So you could slip that on there and then attach this to that. And it does, in fact, work. Unfortunately, it's way too heavy. And you end up with a lot of exposed plastic that, you know, for a fairly short blade, and that's just going to wobble off of there and pop loose. So that didn't really work out so well. However, in setting all this up, I discovered that this regulator handle barrel makes a beautiful handle to turn this into a lightsaber short sword. Which is just magnificent. That was the problem with it before, is when you didn't have it attached to anything, I didn't really have a good barrel for it, or a good handle for it, and this works beautifully. I can fit my two fingers in there, plus one out, and it just feels really, really nice. So that was a neat side effect of this particular process. The other one that occurred to me was to use my axe bayonet head in the similar fashion. Unfortunately, the axe bayonet attaches in the opposite direction, and it won't, in fact, fit. If you do get it on there, it, of course, blocks all the barrels. So, axe bayonet is out. So if this lightsaber wasn't going to work because it was too heavy, I decided to make a super light one. Just by taking a length of the same pool noodle, and for now, I've just zip-tied it to, I believe this was the Modulus shield attachment. I found it at Goodwill, but I didn't have the shield. so it wasn't really of any use to me, and it just ended up in a bin. But it is super, super light, and so it will not pop loose because the blade just doesn't have the mass to do it. It's also the longest of the attachments, really, just a little bit longer than the Katana one. So this one is quite lovely. This is a good sword length. I would definitely be happy using this with a round shield or a tower shield. It has obviously no parrying potential whatsoever, but you almost never actually engage in sword-to-sword combat in Nerf Wars, because by the time you get ready to square off and get ready to sword fight, someone's going to shoot one of you. So, but the advantage is, of course, it is also foam all the way along it, which makes it nice and padded, and you can pull it off and flail about with it if you felt like it. But that is another one that I will probably definitely get some use out of, just because of how slightly silly it is, but also how light it is. And so you can easily switch between melee mode and blaster mode, which is just the neat thing about this design, is you can just slide your hand back and forth one-handed, prime it, switch, melee, switch, shoot, switch, and it just was just the way the blaster was designed. It needed that, so it has now been done. Now I did still like the idea. It really, to me, feels like it needs a big blade, or at least possibly a blade that actually goes around the barrel. That would, of course, make it really hard to reload, so it'd be kind of you'd reload before the battle, and then you'd get your 4 shots, and that would pretty much be it, unless you could find a way to, create a breach or reload somehow. I considered that, but I think I would rather just have a wide blade, kind of like my machete blade, on the top made out of foam, or some kind of an axe blade. I considered trying to use one of these, just like my axe bayonet, but the design is such a way that any way I could figure out how to attach it reasonably, it blocks the barrels. So that one's out. But I would like an axe blade for it, just because I like axes as much as I like swords. So let me know what you guys think what kind of attachments I should make for it. Possibly kind of a Halo power sword thing, have 2 blades that come off. That wouldn't be too difficult to make something that went around and had 2 blades coming up on either side of it. So you could hit either direction. You could still hit when you have it triggered, or have your hand in this configuration if it had a lower blade as well as an upper blade. This way just feels a little bit more sword-like, but to be able to hit this way as well would be pretty cool. So I may do that, get some blue foam maybe, and make some really thin but light blades that way. I would also then kind of be able to, if I made them wide enough, I could almost use it like a shield, like an energy shield. So yeah, I really kind of like that idea. I'll need to get the right foam for that. I have a couple of ideas. It shouldn't be too hard to just make a rail attachment and then attach the 2 blades to each other around the sides. I think that would be pretty cool. Let me know what other ideas you guys have, because I'm sure you guys have some wacky, fun melee weapon ideas that I'm just not thinking of. So put those in the comments below, as well as your thoughts on this in general. Any other concerns, comments, ideas, requests, suggestions, comment section. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Once again, welcome. If you're out there and you're watching this, I hope this put a smile on your face. I definitely thought about you when making this, as it seemed like something that you would, in general, approve of. For those of you that are wondering what I'm talking about, go check out Wacom S7's channel. He's got a video there that pretty much explains it. So, yeah, remember, we are your friends. We're here for you if you need us. And thank you for everything.